Bill Gates has urged world leaders to do more to prevent future pandemics. The Microsoft co-founder is calling for greater sharing of information and a faster response to stop such large-scale disease outbreaks happening again. He's been speaking to the BBC's Michelle Hussein, and she started by asking him how ready we should be for another pandemic.
Well, the risk is there every year and definitely going up as people travel around the world more, as climate change causes species to seek new habitats, as population growth, particularly in Asia and Africa, means that we're invading more natural habitats. It's very unlikely that we'll go 20 more years without another outbreak that has a chance of becoming a global pandemic.
Which is sobering, and which is a hard thing to think about at a point psychologically when there's a joy in getting back to the things that we couldn't do for such a long period. But you essentially want us all to think really hard about preparing for the next one, which is kind of a tough ask at a time like this.
No, definitely. And, this pandemic's not completely over. We could have a surprise variant. I don't think that's high probability. But yes, people are ready for this one to end, no doubt. Hopefully, they keep in mind how awful it's been so that we take the reasonably modest measures that are required to reduce the chance of it happening again.
Which are spending on practice, on modelling, on proper sort of active preparedness.
Yeah, practice would be key, and having a dedicated team that helps manage that practice and make sure that every little outbreak gets quick investigation, including genetic sequencing, so we can understand, is this a respiratory virus that's threatening to become another COVID?
And on COVID itself, the thing you just hinted at, that I think you're saying that is it possible that the worst is even yet to come if we get a new, more dangerous variant than what we've seen?
Not likely. We have a lot of immunity. The variants escape some of that immunity, particularly if we get the elderly to keep up to date on boosters, then the amount of severe disease and death is dramatically less. We can't completely ignore this pandemic. But we don't yet have tools like where you take the vaccine once and you're protected for life and it stops you from getting infected. That's the kind of tool that we need to really put this behind us and for future pandemics.
Do you think any of the kind of preparedness you'd like to see is really going on as you look around the world now?
Well, the idea of building a global group that I call GERM, for Global Epidemic Response and Mobilization, at that WHO level, there isn't yet a consensus, but the debate is beginning. My book, I think, will help kick off that debate. I'd love to see in the next year that funded, because the cost is pretty small, and yet that's kind of the central group that'll make sure we practice and have dramatically less impact.
What did you think about Novak Djokovic saying that he wasn't vaccinated because it's essentially about his freedom of choice and the choice of what he puts in his body? I wonder if you think that when someone is in the public eye, is there a wider responsibility than just that of your own body?
Well, being vaccinated helps the community you're in. They're not perfect at blocking infection, but they do reduce infection. And so it's unfortunate if somebody's health concerns are so extreme that they feel they can't participate in that community protection. If they're an inspirational and trusted person, then if they're spreading that, it just makes it tougher to get the vaccination levels that we really need. I admire him in a lot of ways, but I wish his views on vaccines weren't that way.
On you personally, you've had a big change in your life in the last year with the end of your marriage. How has that affected you?
Well, my life is very different. My kids are gone from the house. The last one left for college a year ago. The divorce is a big change. Although there's one part of my relationship with Melinda that I treasure a great deal, which is our work together at the foundation, that continues. I'm very happy with that. The divorce is very hard. It was a tough year. This year's a lot more upbeat.
She seemed to have seen something in Jeffrey Epstein on the occasion that she met him that you didn't in your meetings with him. Is that right? She said that she met him once, and as soon as she walked in the door, she felt he was abhorrent and evil personified.
I made a mistake ever meeting with Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe her instincts on that were keener than mine, but any meeting I have with them, could be viewed as almost condoning his evil behavior. So, that was a mistake.
Bill Gates, thank you very much.